Blessings, good morning, good afternoon, and everything in between. I am your host, the one and only Mr. LP. Today, I'm playing Sheriff LP, and we're having fun all around today. Welcome to Live and Global Media Podcast. Today, June 18th, 2026. We're ready to have a little bit of fun. I might take the hat off a little bit later. If you say I look too sexy and you can't handle it, that's all right. I'll take it off and let everybody have a little bit of fun. For right now, we are here. Today, I am joined by a lovely co-host and things like that. I was able to find a little bit of money so I could pay them to be on here. First and foremost, we have the lovely Miss Anika Walston. How are you doing today?
I am well, Stephen. I am well.
And everything else. So now that I want to let everybody know, I appreciate it. You won the local lottery. You're out shopping and everything else. You forgot about your boy, but I appreciate you very much and things. But you're doing good and everything. Okay. All
I
right.
didn't forget about you, Stephen. I'm
Okay,
here.
you didn't forget about me. I just want to let you know I wear size 14 no shoes, so I need some new kicks. Okay. All right. Now, and definitely not the least of all and things like that. Our lovely chameleon, the lady who handles it all, the wonderful Miss Author Tracy Hardy Scott, aka Raw Silk. How are you doing today? Silk, are you there with us? Uh oh. Uh oh. Okay, you there? I see you move. That's okay. We're gonna make sure we get you in there at some point. So if you want you to join us, just let us know and things like that. So again, I appreciate everybody for joining us for today's show. Today is a very important show. Silk, are you back with us? Uh oh, I have no audio. Uh oh, let's see. We get Silk back in.
Let's see. We get so back in.
You
Okay.
got me?
Yes, I got you now. Sorry about
Oh,
that. I didn't know what happened
Okay.
there.
yeah.
Yes, I
Some,
got you now.
okay, great. Yeah, I said good evening. I'm excited as always to be here. The hat is killing me, but I'm happy to see my sister Anika here. And so I'm looking forward to another evening of great conversation.
Amen. Amen. So we're going to make this happen. First and foremost, okay, look, today is going to be a very special show because today's show is about do we even know what we want, as a community. And in particular, I'm having this discussion for our Black community, but it's also something that can be had for all communities, to be honest with you, because the same troubles we may have on different ways, but there's fault in all around. And when you have these uh, conversations within intra communities is not about hate or things like that. People may not like having these discussions, but they need to be had and so forth. And I want to get one thing out up front, and so it won't be misread. This is not about making white people comfortable. This is about whether we respect ourselves enough to do the work, to get the job done. Say that early, and we're going to make sure we have a positive mind and going forward with everything. So are we ready?
Ready?
Okay. Because we can't change their hearts, but we can change their wallets. Here's the first thing I'm going to explain that there's a gap in between what we demand and what we're willing to sacrifice. Okay. We want justice, we want respect, and we want change, but we keep asking other people to pay the bill. We expect athletes to lose their checks. We expect celebrities to risk their careers. We expect those of us who are putting into work, such as the ones on our panel and those who are listening. It is always the same ones. We expect the government to fix our schools, and then when they don't, we get loud. But most of us won't even vote in our local election. Won't teach our own kids civics at the kitchen table, and we won't keep a boycott going in order, to move past a hashtag. So the real question I want to say is, well, let me put it this way. The question isn't why won't they sacrifice? The real question is, do we even know what we want? And are we willing to get ourselves there? Okay. We talked about in the past, Colin Kaepernick took a knee and lost everything. And we said we had his back. but we didn't. We kept watching the NFL anyway, or did not do the other things that he asked. He even said at times it's not necessarily about not watching the NFL, getting involved active in your community and the civic aspects. We didn't do it. So let me ask you the uncomfortable question tonight. When we won't sacrifice, what right do we have to ask anybody else to do, even of our own selves? You can name every problem with the system, but can you even name your local DA, your sheriff, police chief, your school board chair? That's the whole show right there, the whole kit and caboodle. What do you think about that? Before I continue, Silk, what do you think about that? Yes, so far.
You would come to me first. So
Yeah.
yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I really don't think we do. I think that as a people, we are so disenfranchised that we're not even speaking the same love language anymore. It's I gotta get mines. This is how the world that we live in. I gotta get mines, and how you get yours is on you. No, there's no tenacity, there's no resilience, there's no sacrifice. We've talked about this on previous shows. We talked about something as simple as telling people not to go into Target or to go into a Walmart or not to show up for Black Friday. And the pushback is, but they got color TVs on sale. Okay. We look for leadership in all of the wrong people, and don't look internally within for the leader that's within us. We look for um, this next messiah of black leadership that's supposed to come and lead us to the promised land. But we don't want to put in the work. And then those of us that do put in the work, we get ostracized for it, or we get blackballed for it. That's a problem. The other problem that I have with it is that we're not all sure if we all want the same thing. Okay, we talk about justice, we talk about equality, but we keep going to the very oppressors, asking them, for some. That to me is just the stupidest thing. Why do you think people who have oppressed you for so long is all of a sudden going to wake up and get a reality pill of helping? So no, I don't think that we know what we want. We're not willing to put in the work. We're not willing to sacrifice anything. And you brought up a good point when not embarrassed to say, I am a diehard Cowboy fan, have been a Cowboy fan since I can remember, way back when. Okay. And when I seen how the NFL plantation was truly operating and how they were treating the players, I walked away from football and I gave it up. I don't support it at all. I don't watch the NFL at all. I don't go to the games. Now, for somebody like me, I was a woman who was diehard football. So that was a major sacrifice to me. But you don't get to spit on me and call it rain. You don't get to disrespect me and say that you can treat me any way we kind of, and we have not learned that they do the things that they do to us because we allow it. We welcome
Hmm.
it.
Exactly. Miss Walston, what do you think? What you got to say? By the way, everybody, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave your comment on here. We will read it and get it on there. Good, bad, and different. We be fair and equal. Miss Walston, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so before, can you hear me?
Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am.
Okay, so while I start, let me go ahead and say I'm a little hurt that she said she was a diehard Cowboys fan because I'm a diehard Eagles fan. But I,
What?
but I do understand, sis. I also one of the problems that I see is that there is no sense of pride in our community the way it used to be.
I'm on the phone.
One of the issues is that when you don't have a sense of pride in in a community, that you lose a part of yourself. And one of the things is that black people have gotten lost in everybody's culture and don't know their own, right? It was great in the 60s because we had a freedom to fight for, right? But everybody wants you to dismiss things like racism. Everybody wants you to dismiss the things that are going on. Let's just not talk about it's a black or white issue. We are the only group, whether of brown people, of black people, who have this stance on um, it's like crabs in a barrel, right?
Hmm.
Instead of living in that Eastern belief of everybody is one, now we're in that Western culture as get for yourself. And we as a people, if we understood where we came from, we would never be trying to do things individually. Right.
Right.
But
Yes.
but because we've been acculturated to this Western civilization, we have lost. So when we say things like it's our fault because we don't ask or we don't know, well, we barely know who we are.
Right.
Like we don't have a sense of who we are. We're basically told who we are and what we can be. And if all of the years we have dismissed who we are, we're asking now in the present to find out who we are when we lost it years ago. So my question would be, how do we get back there?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. I'm ready for you. First off, thank you so very much, Diamond T, Miss Tandon Cook. How you doing today? She's like go Eagles fans. Oh Lord. First and foremost, let me just before we get into this, let me offer extreme congratulations to our lovely New York Knicks, for winning a championship and things, whether it's by 1 point over thousands. I'm very grateful. And all the Knicks fans, thank you so very much. Please behave in these celebrations around the world. But just to let you know, we outside like that. But I want to go ahead and also, before I don't let me forget, ladies, that I got something for you about this. The leadership thing, what's missing, the myth of that. But I want to go into the 5 to 6 things that I feel that we need to build back within our communities. And the reason why I point to these 4 or 5 things, and we may even need to narrow it down to 3, but I want to stick to these 5 to 6 things because what happens is, yes, there are a million and one issues out there, but the problem is that we get stranded, like you mentioned, and we become unfocused. We do not know what's going on. Everybody want to run in all the lanes. Some don't want to run in any lane, and we get lost out there. And what happens is that now we become confused. Where you see the other side, they stick to 2 or 3 different things. Just for example, I'm going to call it like it is. The Republican Party stuck to like 2 or 3 different things. They said we're going to get rid of immigrants. We're going to take care of that health care, and we're going to take away Jesus. So what was the third thing? They fixed the taxes and change everything else. And darn it, that's what they did. And then systematically, while that was being done, all the other things under each pillar they were taking down: the education, justice, money, healthcare, whatever. They did what they had to do. But first thing I want to go through, and I'm going to jump in. I'm going to stop at each one for comments, questions, and concerns. Um, First off, let me see. I lost Silk. Okay, sorry about that. Let me see if I can got you back. Miss Silk, are you back, Queen?
I am here.
Okay, all right. So I got these 6 things, and I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna stop after each one and let everybody make their comments on it. First and foremost, this may be a little bit controversial for some, but they feel like we need to vote down the ballot, especially in offices that touch your life daily.
My
The
phone is
offices now, the offices
Man, can
within
I
the
use
most
your phone?
the offices with the most direct power over Black life, Commonwealth's attorneys, DAs, sheriffs, school boards, city council, judges were elected, are the ones with the lowest Black turnout, which is crazy, and they have the most power over our daily lives. In off year in local elections, our participation often sits below 40%, which boggles the mind. We pour our passion into the presidential race every 4 years and ignore the people who actually decide who gets charged, who gets police, and what areas in our communities have the police officers around, what areas where we get the money for the schools, what roads decide to get fixed. Heck, where do the buses run? Okay, and what our kids are taught. Then we complain about outcomes we never voted on. The move is about pick the next local election on your calendar, find out the primaries, find out who's running, because those people help vote for those DAs who sometimes become judges, and then the state legislators put them in as the state judges of state Supreme Court. Then they get nominated, eventually plucked out who gets the most performance and reviews, and they become get nominated for federal judges. Then, of course, we know the Supreme Court. And guess who does all the nominations and also all the voting for that? Yes, people in Congress. So, and which we don't both come out for that in off years. So we have to do a better job. Find out who's your Commonwealth attorney, who's your sheriff, who's your police chief. If you can't name them, then that's the assignment. Ladies, Miss Walston.
Great assignment. Can you hear me? Yeah. So that's a great assignment, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I need you to look at the community as a whole for individuals who are not informed, right? It would
Oh,
be
yes.
nice. It would be nice for everybody to know who their sitting district attorney is, their police chief. But we have so many communities that are suffering with things such as poverty, inadequate health care, inadequate food, that their mind is probably not fixated on who is running what. The
Mm-hmm.
education system is imploded. So we're asking people to educate themselves on things that they're not even educated on, the basic principles of the three branches of the government. There are people that do not know that there's a judicial, executive, and a legislation, right? They don't know that Congress writes the checks. People can go vote because they can tell you, hey, vote Democrat or vote Republican, but do they know what the issue is? We can't
Exactly.
educate those who are asleep. We can't educate those who are not aware. That is, how do we get them engaged in that?
Right. Now you identify what we call pain points. Yes. I think people move by, it shouldn't, but people move by majority and what they see. When they see the majority not getting involved and not doing something, then they become apathetic towards that. So when you get out there and do something and you see everybody go, that's what happens. You hear a sound and you see a bunch of people running. What do other people do? Run with them. Not necessarily knowing what's going on, but run with them. So we have to make sure that for those of us who do know, okay, it's also important, just like how I say to teach our kids, go from there. Now, we may not be able to change the hearts and the minds and the wallets of our generation who just say they give up. But we still have a responsibility for those who are coming into the system. We still have a responsibility to vote for those who are coming from our local areas, who are running into our local system, who know what's going on in the community and can accurately speak to it. What happens in a lot of corporate companies or divisions? They bring in somebody that doesn't know the system, not familiar with the area, and they make all these wholesale changes. And what happens? Things break down. Same thing in government. So it's very important for all these different things. Let's see. Diamond T, she said judges will reduce in administrative roles. Yes, very much so. Hopefully we can get Silk back. The next one is for number 2. Teach civics and money at the kitchen table. Stop it, and not necessarily always a kitchen table, but just as you go about daily life. Stop out. So excuse me. Stop outsourcing it to a system you do not trust. Okay, we stopped teaching certain math. We stopped teaching cursive. We stopped teaching a whole bunch of different things. And I don't blame the schools as much as I blame our parents and people themselves. Now, yes, we got people working 2 or 3 jobs or what have you, but we know we got your cousins, your aunties, your uncles, just your local communities. We have to get involved. So many kids, if they do not have that money, I can't even say kids, even the adults, if they do not have the number of how much you get back in change on the screen, and that screen can lie a whole bunch of times. And this is how some communities make that extra 5, 10, even $1 off your purchase because you can't count. The Black Panthers didn't wait. Let's use them for example. The Black Panthers didn't wait for permission to feed children. They
Right.
built the free breakfast programs themselves. The blueprint for self-reliance already existed. But even before the Black Panthers, we just stopped running it. Okay, that's literally what it is. Even after the Black Panthers and things, we were in various communities. You knew to go whose house to get breakfast. The older lady or the auntie, the one that was at home, fed the community. Things like that. My grandmother did it. Your grandmother, great grandmothers have done it. We stopped, and that's nobody else's fault. We do okay when we had an extra dollar, we dropped off the change, we put it in the envelope in the mailbox or what have you. Your son went to go sweep the steps and then dropped off the change to Mama Dukes or whoever down the street because we fed people and we took care of people. We stopped that. And who stopped that? Us. Okay. We complain about the schools, but we don't sit down at home and teach our kids how government actually works, which is what you mentioned. And facts are not conspiracy theories. Now, there's maybe some truth to some aspects of it, but yes, there's aspects of conspiracy theories that we need to be
Definitely.
careful on. Let me see. Silk, you back good with us?
I am. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. I was going back on number two about teaching civics and money in our kitchen table and stop outsourcing it to a system that don't we don't trust. You especially, know very much with your family members and people in the Black Panther. We fed people; they did not wait for people to get permission. We did what we had to do. We fed
Exactly.
people. We helped out everybody else. We complain about the schools, but we don't sit down at home and teach our kids how government actually works.
Works.
Facts, not conspiracy
Acts like
theories.
conspiracy
And
theories.
when
And
and then when an institution says no,
institution said
we
no,
drop the effort
we dropped the
instead of
effort
carrying
instead
it
of
to
carrying it
ourselves.
to ourselves.
Agreed.
Sorry, echo.
Sorry,
If you have it up on a
if you have
browser,
it
it's
up on
going to
the
be
browser, it's going to be
yeah. On the move. Our
on the move.
conversations and week with
Our
your,
conversation
having one conversation at least a
having
week
one
with your
conversation at
kids
least
about
a
how
week
the real
with
thing
your kids
works,
about how the
how a
real
bill
thing
becomes
works,
law,
how a
what
bill
a
becomes
city
law,
budget
what a
is,
city
how
budget
that done,
is, how that
how
done,
the
how
how votes get
it's
counted.
how to
We just
get counted.
Silk and I
We
just
just
came from
Silk and
a
I just
city
came from
council
a
how
city
order of
council
operation
and how order of
says
operation
done,
says
and people
done, and people
see it. Hold on,
see it.
is there's an
Hold on,
echo?
is there an
Um,
echo?
I'm sorry. Do you
I'm
have a
sorry.
window open?
Do you have a window open?
Not me.
Silk, are you still on the computer?
Silk, are you still on the computer?
No, I'm on the phone.
Hmm. I don't know what happened here. Okay. Sorry. Now it went away. Don't know
Sorry,
what
now
happened.
I'm going away. Don't know
Oh.
what happened.
You
He's back.
probably hear background noise from my backyard.
Okay. Let me see something here. I'm just muting for a
I'm
second.
just muting
It's
for a
okay. I'll
second.
just stay on mute until you ask me a question.
Okay. It's somewhere on it's possibly on my end or the speed. I'm sorry, everybody. We'll get it together. We apologize for the inconvenience, but we'll get it together. Have mercy with us, and we're going to work on it. Again, I take ownership of that. Please don't blame the queens. One conversation a week about how the real thing works, in our government. How a bill becomes a law, what city budget is, how does that work, how the vote gets counted. Replicate these things from breakfast program to logic. If they won't do it, we have to do it. Okay, we have to start taking ownership and putting our foot to ground, not boots on the ground and waving your fans at, boots to the ground and we're taking that pen and paper and going after it. If you can't, so many people type on the phone with their two fingers, but they can't write, can't even sign their name. We have adults in their 20s, 30s, and 40s doing X's because you don't know how to do a signature. Dumb stuff like that. Uh, Miss Walston, I come to you first.
I don't want you to call it dumb stuff because it's not dumb. If it's something that they learned and that is how they're trying to get and maneuver through this world, it's what they've learned. So it's not dumb. What it is that that's what has been given to them in order to get through. So instead
But
of us,
would you
go
say
ahead.
would you say it's willful ignorance? Because but there's a difference. Okay, I get that we were taught. Somebody was taught. But when you know better, you do better. You don't
Right.
continue the same bad habits and things like that. Whenever I get it, many people, for example, we're all in social services and things like that here. We know people just only doing what they were taught. So if you grew up seeing your father and uncles and everybody else slapping a woman, what do you think you're going to do at 10, 12, 15? Slapping a woman, and we all know it's wrong. But now, when you get that lesson and you know that it's wrong, do you still do it? Do you still make excuses? So at this point in time, I get it. But when you know better, that you need to learn how to write your signature, you need to learn how to count your money. I get it. But when at some point in time for certain things, we have to take accountability for and stop moving the goalposts. They do it for us. That don't mean we follow the same actions. So when do we start taking accountability?
When we practice and reinforce it within our homes and in our communities. So,
Thank you. You answered my
okay,
question.
all
Mhm.
right.
Sorry. Like,
Well, that's basically it. It is, we learn all of these habits not overnight. We learn to ignore things because the people around us ignore things. when we become aware, we don't just need to become aware in that moment. We need to be aware daily and we need reminders, right? So we
Hmm.
can't just go teach one civic class. It's got to be kind of like prayer service on Tuesdays, church on Saturdays.
Hmm.
We need to reinstill who we are in each other, right? We need to lead by
Yeah.
example, but we can't do that a month, right? We need to do that every
No.
day. So, right, we need to sit at tables. We need to learn how to write cursive. But how about before we learn how to write cursive, we learn phonics? We learn how to read. Our children and adults are learning how to read through text messages with broken language and broken words, right?
Hmm.
What
Yes,
what
ma'am.
if we propose in homes like turn off your TVs? We're always talking about the internet and whatnot. Turn your TV off. How many of these homes have books? How many
Exactly.
people still have the little notebook where you don't have the lines in the you put your lines. Remember in school, you had to make the A, the B, the C. How many people still have that? Right?
Yeah.
Well, they got
They sell
Chromebooks.
those. They sell
They're
those
not
things.
learning to
Yeah.
write. So
Which which
reinforcement is
which
really necessary.
which goes towards the fact of comprehension, reading, and critical thinking as well. So I do agree with you very much on all of it. Silk.
I totally agree, and you know that it's like so funny because summertime, and my grandkids have been visiting, and they're 8 and 9 years old, and before playtime even starts, they have to read a book, and then they have to tell us what it is that they read to make sure that they understand it, um, and then we ask questions on it. So school never stops, in their home with their dad or here. Reading definitely is something that's a guarantee. But I want to go back a little further because one of the things that I find that is the reason why we're in this crisis, as I call it, is because of what Anika said. We forgot where we came from. We are a people who come from a village environment. And in the village, everybody has a role. Okay, everybody in the village doesn't hunt. Everybody in the village doesn't cook. Everybody in the village doesn't clean. And because we've gotten away from that and done got indoctrinated with this white culture of how they operate, we don't consider ourselves our brothers and our sisters keepers. We don't consider ourselves a part of the village. The only time we come together is it's like so funny, right? So today, diehard Knicks fan, right? And I watch millions of people in the city of New York, my hometown, come together to celebrate a team's victory, right? But on any given day, we can't get together as a community to help each other out. We walk past homeless and automatically assume the worst of them, right? We see somebody with a mental health crises and it becomes a laugh or it becomes a meme or a video post or whatever. We are so disenfranchised as a people that even the love affair between a black man and a black woman has become obsolete. It's like, oh, we have hashtags now about Black Lives Matter and Black Women's Lives Matter and all. This is just like absolutely ridiculous because this is not what we come from. Okay, we come from. I grew up in the era where your family didn't have much, but if Miss Jones had bologna and my mother had bread and Anika's mother had mayonnaise, then the neighborhood kids ate. It didn't matter that they were your kids. My grandmother was the big mama of the neighborhood. She took care of everybody's kids. My grandmother on any given Sunday would have 30 and 40 kids going to Penn Station to Madison Square Garden to the circus and to parks and to museums and all kinds of things of what exposure. We have now put video game controllers in our kids' hands and think that that's okay for them to be babysat with that all day long, just absorbing the violence, absorbing all of the foolishness that's, you know what I'm saying, out there. We have parents that don't even conversate with their children. They don't ask their children what went on in school, what happened, how we just give our children to the free babysitters and think that all is right with the world. And I encourage parents all the time, absolutely ask your kids what went and goes on in school. Because if you hear how some of those teachers and administrators talk to and talk about children, it's amazing. Like when my son was in school, I did pop-ups. And I know that security and everything changed, but your mindset has got to be, there is nothing that I carried for 9 months that a damn soul is going to tell me what I can and cannot do with it. Okay. And so we have gotten so complacent and so comfortable. We have the most, right now, as a habit housing advocate, I'm fighting housing justice across the Commonwealth of Virginia, right? And I'm looking at apartment communities that I know if the tan lines was a little bit lighter, they absolutely would not be in the conditions that they are in. And the people wouldn't be suffering the injustice that they suffer. But because it is, we have gotten so complacent with getting the master's benefits that we tolerate whatever bullshit that they put on our plate.
Agreed.
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 The third
The
thing that I
third
want to
thing that
go
I want to
over
go over
that we do
that we
not,
do not,
I don't know
again,
where
I
the
don't know
hell
where
was coming from. We apologize for that. The third thing I want to hit up is the circulating the dollar. We talk about this all the time. Sustain sustenance, sustenance within our economic condition, our economic engine. We need to have some cooperation, not a one-day hashtag, small business Saturdays, whatever you want to call it. Not taking away from it. I'm grateful, but we have to go beyond that. That's just the initial hook. Black buying power is projected in 2026, $2.1 trillion. Okay, let me say that again, $2.1 trillion. But buying power is spending, not what? Wealth. Okay, it is not wealth because, and they want us to spend. They don't want us to build wealth because now when you have wealth, you can do more things. Okay, you have more control. You have, even if you're not even touching them, you have your own autonomy, your own agency of your life, your family, your culture, your history, everything in your community. The goal was never to spend more, but it was to make the dollar circulate, recirculate, and turn into ownership in our own communities. Our money leaves our community faster than it enters all the time. One day by black hashtag is performance. Real economic power is the boring, sustained, unglamorous version we've never been willing to commit to. Going to the day to buy this. I seen a lady at an event who sell these gorgeous high end purses and bags and stuff. But because it wasn't, whatever, Coco Chanel, whatever, they say, oh, it's not their brand. We're not going to spend $300, but I'll spend $700 on a Hermes or whatever. I'm sorry, Hermes, what, 15, 1800 now? Name, and we probably can do this, but name three black business owners that you can commit to a year. I had developed a program years ago, and it didn't fall through because it fell through because people couldn't see it. Where we decided to say we're going to name these businesses and we're going to commit a certain amount of dollars every month for the business, for certain local services. Why people couldn't see it, I don't know. But find three businesses that you never, three black businesses of color that you never even heard about or not familiar with. Fine. Go out there. Don't go to the same people that you already go to, but not go commit, make a commitment for a year. Sustain
I wanna
sustenance, viral every time.
I want to chime in on that because that's a key thing, right? Because that's a double-edged sword, right? Because yes, I absolutely think that we should buy black. I absolutely think that we should support blacks. But then I think business of color needs to stop trying to rate their community and triple
Oh
and
yeah.
quadruple the
Almost
prices
definitely.
for things. They try to the majority of them try to make the sale of five people off of one sale. And so that's why you run into that problem. The thing that the crazy thing is that we're the people who have less but always commanding more. And what I mean by that, right, is it's like, people critique Hispanics, okay? They critique the Mexicans, they critique the Africans, but they will come over to this country. They will all live 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 deep in one apartment, right? and sleep in shifts, right? Where when this one is coming, the other one is going. Then they will all get together and help that one purchase a home, and they sponsor someone else and go. We won't even let our cousin. I work in low income housing until I retire. And I can't tell you the amount of young ladies that would have a family emergency and they don't have one person that they can call to say, hey, can I come stay at your house overnight while they fix this thing? That's sad. That's sad. I'm like, and these is your friends. I've actually called one of my residents' mother at the time, and she has 6 kids. And the mother was like, hell no, they ain't coming here. Them kids bad as hell. And I'm like, these are your grandchildren. And you would rather see them out in the street. I come from the age where my grandmother, if you had to sleep in the bathtub, it's always room in this inn for you. But we've gotten so comfortable of this is mine and this is mine, and we have nothing. We have absolutely nothing. And the thing that frustrates me, the thing that even frustrates me, like take Queen Anika, right? Okay, we have to apologize for being educated black women. We have to be apologized because our vernacular may be a little different. We have to apologize because when we know what we're talking about, we come off as aggressive or we come off as rude. But then to our own kind, we sound too white. It's ridiculous that the things that we focus on in this village, meanwhile, we are behind the 8 ball daily. Okay, daily. We are letting our children be indoctrinated in school. When you talk about the prison pipeline, I talked about this a year ago on a show where parents sign this code of conduct every single year without reading that thing, that it reads like an intake manual for the prison system. It's literally duplicates the intake manual and the orientation that uh prisoners go through when they first hit jail. It is the same orientation format. It is the same codes of violations in school, and we allow this. We allow this.
Yes, ma'am. And Miss
Yes,
Walston,
ma'am.
Mostly.
you're on mute, Queen.
Yeah, it kept going back to mute. Okay. I almost lost my point. So one of the things that I'm going back to, but it still is in reference to this, is that you had mentioned that like the Black Panthers fed communities, right? But you also have to remember
Yes,
what they
ma'am.
did to dismantle that. And a lot of times
Correct.
people we have been disparaged, right? So if you come and we're trying, and then it is easy for you to tear down what we have built, how are you going to ask other people to go and try it again and risk their lives? We are sitting sometimes in a state of fear, of anxiety, of all these different things because we don't know what we can or cannot do because technically we're outcast, right? So when we're educated, like she said, we're a threat. They kill us. They put us in jail. They keep us quiet. Anytime we look like we're about to level up, they're trying to figure ways to put us down. We see that when we watch politics. Every time a black woman stands up for something, she's angry. She's upset. She doesn't know how to manage herself. So now we as black women need to go into the community and teach people, oh, don't worry about it. They're going to knock you down. Don't worry about it. But come stand with us.
Hmm.
I would need to know. I would say that was okay back in the day, but currently that's why people are. I'm going to take care of myself, and if I survive, you can come with me. If not, we'll go about our business. We are teaching individuals how to stay as individuals because when we get together as
Get
groups,
together
they're
as
going to hurt
groups.
us.
They're going to
They're going to
hurt
hurt us.
us. They're going to hurt us.
Right.
Right.
One of the
Mr.
things.
LP,
One
can
of
I
the things.
one one of the things,
Sorry.
excuse me, Mr. LP,
Sorry.
I wanted to chime on that, right? Because she said, and it's the fear. And that's the thing that boggles my mind, Queen, because we get people preaching about Christianity and they don't fear anybody because God does not, instill that in you, and you got to have faith, right? The mega Evans of the world were willing to die for us. The Martins, the Malcolms, they were willing, they put their money where their mind, they put their life on the line for us. I'm putting my life on the line for mine. Plain and simple. I'm not fearing nothing that's going to hurt mine. Okay, I'm
Right.
going to hurt you first. Okay. And I
Right.
think that's the mindset that we've got away from. It's like, I hear all the time, well, if I speak up, they're going to take my food stamps away from me. Grow your own damn garden. Okay. If I speak up, they're going to take this benefit from me. Okay. Start your own business. It's just like we have gotten so complacent, and we have a pot of excuses of why we can't do the things that we're going to do. And like you said, it's because out of fear. Okay. But they fear us more than we fear them. That's why they keep doing the same crap over and over again.
Right. And I agree with
Yes.
that
Yes.
because we're thinking
We're
on a
thinking on a
singular level a
singular
lot of
level.
times. So, like you mentioned, the church, like we're like the Bible, and we're not supposed to fear anything, right? But sometimes the church is the one that disparages us first. How is it that we have so many homeless people, so many people that get things shut off, and they belong to a whole church where they pay offering and tithes and can't get any support from the very church they're supposed to go to and only fear God? So not only are the people doing the disparaging, we disparage our communities. We look down on them. We look down on those that have mental health issues. And that is really, really funny because it was okay 20 years ago when Uncle Johnny was in the corner tapping his head and don't ask any questions. Now that we've put a name to it, now we don't even want to go get therapy because we have instilled in our black people, oh, don't go tell nobody your business. So
Right.
we are running around in circles and need to get a hold of each other in one place and have those real conversations. But who's willing to come have the conversation? It just can't be us every week.
No, it is not. I'm trying to read the comments for things. Please don't think I'm ignoring anybody. I read the comments. Diamond T stated, these are great questions. She'll end the life for hers, and also they won't because she's experienced the same things that you are mentioning about. Also, I want to leave a wonderful comment that uh, Miss Chang mentioned that what Tracy said is facts. Comparing us to schools in Canada is also as a prison as well, forcing as well. And I know she has some more comments that's coming through. I'm going to get that in as soon as it does. The next thing, number four, and to your point, Tracy, you're correct that we need to start checking our businesses to do better within our communities. But number four, demand respect of ourselves before we demand it from anybody else. I'm very big on that. And people tend to get mad at me and say, oh, you try to make so and so happy or trying to get fame. No, it's just respect is respect. It's not about my color of my skin. It's how I want to be treated and how I want to treat others. That is very important. You can't ask the world to honor you while you tolerate the parts of our culture that degrade you. I am a very big advocate. I keep saying all the time, when we're going to have a national divorce of the ratchetness in our communities, we're the only ones that are comfortable. And even though it's a small amount of people in the whole large aspect of diaspora of our culture, but we are comfortable letting the ratchetness be the representation of us. You don't see the other cultures; they may have their TV shows and this, that, and the other, and other things, but they don't let that mess be the dominant image of our communities. We allow that. Now, of course, we say is the TV, is the industry, and things like that. But if you don't feed into it, get like we say, with educators, our books, what have you. We not putting out the positive stories and sharing those stories amongst our history, recording them, put them on YouTube for prosperity, all these different things, so people know what's going on. This is about modeling dignity for our own children, not about respectability for white comfort. We'll play music full of the N word at a family cookout, which boggles the mind. But let our children curse and then act shocked when there's no respect in the room or even the classroom. We just had this whole thing with Rolling Mountain
We just had this
mentioned
whole thing with Rolling Mountain
about the shooting.
mentioned about the
Someone came
shooting.
out to a family cookout,
Someone came out
shooting,
to a family
AKA,
cookout shooting,
with a
aka
rifle, but that was just really
with a
bad.
rifle.
We keep finding excuses to ignore it as well. We have to decide what you will
Decide
and won't
what you will.
normalize around your own children. Also within yourself, because if
Also
you
within
start
yourself,
becoming
because if you
numbing,
start
you start
becoming numb,
becoming numb
you start
mentally,
becoming
emotionally, and
numb mentally,
spiritually
emotionally, and
when
spiritually
you allow
when
things
you
happen.
select
Self-respect isn't about a
Agreed.
performance of ourselves. It's about foundation of everything else, what we stand on. There's an
Agreed.
echo. Sorry.
I think one of the things that I have a problem, and I've said to you a long time ago, I believe that like Andy Cohen is the greatest pimp of all time because he's taken, hello?
Go ahead,
I can
ma'am.
hear
Oh,
you.
this thing is getting on my nerves.
Oh, you were doing good. We heard Andy Cohen is the biggest pimp of our culture.
Yeah, because he's taken this whole franchise of messiness and ratchetness, and he's become a millionaire. And just think about it, we've made ratchet millionaires. Like we've taken stars of ratchet TV and they are literally millionaires based on foolishness. Okay, degrading behavior. One of the arguments that we have, yes, I understand that we live in a world where you should be free to do whatever you want. But it was unheard of. Like, and I know I'm gonna step on some toes. Our girls walking around with damn pajamas and bonnets on your head. Okay, I'm 63 years old. I never even went to the corner store with rollers in my head. My mother did not play that foolishness. You combed your hair to go someplace. Why do we always have to be the clowns? The buffoonery as well. It's just like fads have come and gone, but grown ass men still walking around with their pants up underneath their behind. You couldn't even talk to me with your pants hanging off of your behind. It's disrespectful. And then for you to come and meet my parents like that. But again, when you say things like that, you become bougie, you become uppity, you think you better. No, that's just the reality of things. You guys look like clowns. Okay. A bonnet is not a hat. Okay. Walking around, I've had to argue with people coming into my office in tank tops, no bras, bonnets, and pajama pants and slippers. Like you just rolled out of bed and think that that's okay for you to come to conduct your business. No. So if you want to be mad at me because I'm going to check you every single time. Okay. I'm not asking you to come in an evening gown. I'm not asking you to go to Macy's and buy a brand new dress. I'm just saying present yourself as if you're coming to conduct business, and to see grown ass women walking around the street in pajama pants and a bonnet, that's just ridiculous to me. That's just ghetto as hell.
I agree. I want to put Nika. I'm going to come to you, but I want to play this audio from Miss Chang, who's in Canada, who brought in about a valuable point. And hopefully, I can get this to play correctly and loud enough for everybody. If you can't hear it, please let me know.
Being a person that went to a school in the United States versus a school in Canada, when I was in the States, the doors were chained, they were locked. The only way in and out was through security, and you had to go through a metal detector to enter the building, and you had to be searched to enter the building. The playground was locked up. And then when I came back to Canada and went to school in Canada, students were saying, hey, let's go for lunch. And they walked out of the front door, walked out of the side door, and I'm looking behind me waiting for security to tackle us and say, hey, where are you going? You got to sign in and sign out. You need a note from your parents. You got to call. And, waiting for the truant officer to basically just tackle us and hurt us, treat us like we're prisoners. And I behaved like a prisoner, acting like I was breaking out of jail. And they were looking at me like I was crazy. I realized, wow, I lived in a prison world.
Did y'all hear that? Okay. Miss Walston, did
Yes.
you hear that? Okay. What is your thoughts about that, Miss Walston? Because you being our resident psychologist.
Okay, so this is what I was trying to understand. She's saying that she was in Canada and this happened, or she was in the States?
She was in the States, and the mindset and the actions, and when she became so indoctrined of it that when she came to the when she went back to school to Canada, they said go to lunch or do whatever. She would go out the front door, side door, back door, and she's gotten nervous because she's thinking a truant officer, police officer, teacher is going to tackle them, expecting to you're doing something wrong. And that's when she realized that she was trained to act and behave as if you were in prison because of how the policies and how they treat it. Referencing to what Tracy was saying about how schools do you hear, and also the manuals.
So basically, she was conditioned. And that is a great point because a lot of times we are conditioned, right? This goes back to the fear. If I put you in a place and I have police around you, you got to check in. You are conditioned to know that wherever you're going, you have to be protected or you might die, right? Can you imagine? I'm supposed to go learn my ABCs, but they need to check my pockets or because I might have a weapon, or if I go in here, I might not be able to eat my lunch because somebody might shoot me. People are conditioned for these things. So that's almost like post-traumatic stress, right? Now she's going into another country where she's not thinking that that this anything's supposed to be different, only to learn that things are different. This clearly indicates that we've got something going on with our system that that's based out of fear mongering, right? You are scaring children so they can become get out of their adolescence and become adults where they're always in this mentality that they need to be conditioned to protect themselves because they can't protect themselves. They're oxymorons with all of these things, right? School is supposed to be one of the safest places that you're supposed to go. That's not it. We're supposed to be able to walk outside of our house. That's not it. We don't have gun control. We don't have pride in our community, and we don't have respect. So
Amen.
all of these things are fed to not just us, these are fed to our children, and it affects our children more because we have conditioned ourselves to that we're not going to tolerate this crap, right? But how are you
Hmm.
telling that to your kid who is spending 8 hours at school and only 2 hours with you because you need to work to make sure he eats?
I
It's
agree.
right.
Um, so I want to hit this next subject, and I'm going to ask for y'all to bear with me for a moment because this is where I'm going to drive into the myth part about the myth of leadership. But we need to build and sustain our own institutions and stop waiting for one savior. We have no leader myth is a complaint that a myth that lets us off the hook. Even in the 50s and 60s, we were not as united as the nostalgia tries to pin us out to. King, Malcolm, Rosa, Panthers were all criticized in our communities and underprotected of their own, and protected even in their own communities had to go through because there were people trying to take them out. Not even under the guise of the government, just because they didn't like what they were doing. Movements are infrastructure, not individuals. Okay, that's our phrase this week. Movement movements are infrastructure, not individuals. We didn't protect the leaders we had, and we don't fund the work that's even vital. The big clear cut on camera cases get the attention. The middle of the small cases, no video, no big organizations behind them, get left to die. We lost the leaders. Jesse Jackson passed away in February. Sharpton's aging, others going on, and built nothing durable to replace the machine. We didn't support one organization or a case that isn't trending. It's very important. Movement survives. Now, when I go into this dive, I want you to think about, remove your thoughts, anything preconceived notions that you may have about the leader myth, you know, and I think even though you may not believe it, it's done seep into our mindset that we start to, some people tend to speak it and not realizing what you're doing and hurting. When I say we don't protect our leaders, is very important. King, it wasn't King. Well, let me say this: it was, we didn't have a unified army always marching behind King. It really wasn't. He was criticized, surveyed, and abandoned by plenty of our own. By the time he turned to the Poor People's Campaign and came out against Vietnam, even black newspapers and preachers backed away from him. Malcolm was isolated and then killed by people who looked like him. The Black Panthers built free breakfast programs that fed tens of thousands of children a day, and we let the infrastructure die instead of replacing it. The lesson: we don't have a leader, we have a follow through problem. That's the issue. We elevate leaders when when it's convenient and drop them in the moment when it gets costly. When I say a movement is infrastructure, it's really Nothing against someone individually, but we need to be united. The thing nostalgia hides is that civil rights movements worked because of organizations. We had the SCLC, the SNCC, the NAACP, the Black Church, the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters. I don't even think people even remember them. How powerful that was. We would not be on trains without them, literally. Not because of one charismatic man at a podium. It was a group. It was organizations. King was the voice, but the machine underneath him registered voters, ran boycotts, raised the money, and bailed people out of jail. This is not being dismissive of any of these great leaders that we've had. I'm just letting people know the importance of having an organization. We remember the speeches. We forget the system that made the speech matter. Today, we want the speech to be about anything else but building a system. And one of our biggest complaints that Silk and I and Anika talk about all the time is that we have to stop the business of having to be entertained in order to listen. We're still waiting for the savior instead of becoming our own infrastructure. When we have, when we say there's no leader, what really means that nobody has come to do it for us yet. And then even if someone did, we tear them down. But leadership in 2026 isn't about a man or on a mountaintop. It's about being distributed. It's the person who runs a distribution, I should say. That probably be a better word. It's the person who runs the voter drive, the one who shows up to the school board meeting, the one who funds the local cases nobody's filming or even know about. Jesse Jackson passed away in February, and if we're honest, we spent decades waiting on the next king instead of becoming the thousand small leaders a real movement actually requires. They gave us the blueprint. We fund viral, but not the vital. Look at our legacy advocacy. If we were really at it, would the civil rights division get gutted like it is? The big, clean, caught on camera cases get all the big fame. They really do. The hashtags, the GoFundMe's. But the middle of the smaller cases, no video, no viral moment, no big name attorney. If Crumb's not in it, Crump not in it, whatever. We get left to die in the county houses with nobody watching. Crump can't be the only one in so many courtrooms. He can only be in one at a time. We have other lawyers out there that's looking for the same support. Real infrastructure means we have resources for the unglamorous middle of the road, not just the cases that trend. So stop, let us stop asking who's the next leader. The leader was supposed to be the system. We never built up afterwards, the follow through. And every one of us was supposed to be in it, brick by brick. The question isn't, who will lead us. The question is, why won't we organize ourselves? Ms. Walston?
Okay. So let me see how I say this. Okay. We need to have the ability to shake shit up, right? We need to have the ability to die on a hill. You know how we talk about all these other countries in the Middle East? We need to strap bombs on our chest and we need to be willing to die on that hill. That's that is the only way. We need to let them know you are not going to scare us. We're going to get through this and go through you, but more than one person. See, leaders don't have to just be one. Leaders can be a group. But you have to be willing to sacrifice. That's the whole point of this conversation. That sacrifice, can you sacrifice you? Right? Can you sacrifice your kids? When I say sacrifice, I mean give everything back to shake everything up, right? Give them back the things they think hold us. Walk away. Who has the strength? Who is brave enough to say, I don't need none of this and I'm going to go, like Tracy said, I'm going to make a garden, I'm going to build a business. If you go look at a Muslim community, specifically Farrakhan, they grow their own vegetables, they have their own stores, they buy their own clothes, and you'll never hear about that because that's a Muslim community. Because we think everything only has to be Christians. But there are some blacks who are centered together, who do work together, and they're not bothered by the things that are going on in this state. They are aware of it, but they have decided that that can be that part and we're going to be over here. And they're operating just fine. What we've found in history is when we get these communities together, when they realize that we're becoming strong, they're ready to come in to blow it up. We need to be ready for when they're ready to come in to blow it up. Build it, hold it down, and blow them up first. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that.
Go right on ahead. Just to let you
Right.
know, I go to Tracy's house and I try to pick her vegetables. She says I eat too much, so I get kick me out.
But no, we need to be willing to
No, we
down a
need to be
hill.
willing to down a hill.
Where are those people?
Where are those people?
I love it. I think what she said, all of that, and then some, that should be the new hashtag, shake shit up. Okay, plain and simple. Because realistically, she is there. And but the easiest thing is, watch this. The easiest bomb that we can strap ourselves to is our dollar. And we don't even utilize that. We spend more money than any nationality. We buy or whatever. We don't even use the power that we have to stop buying their stuff, stop supporting them. You know, you tell black people to stay out Target and they gonna sneak in there anyway because Target carries something of their favorite or the other or whatever and stuff. They're not gonna do without. We're not willing to sacrifice anything. So we constantly support people who mistreat us every single day, that disrespect us every single day. Even like right down to our jobs, and you know this, Mr. LP, before I decided to retire, my supervisors was clear. I'm here because I choose to be, not because I have to be, because the one thing I am is employable. I set myself up that way. Okay. And to know that or whatever and stuff, we just let people pimp us over and over and over again. And I said, a couple of years ago, aren't you tired? When is enough enough? Aren't you tired of marching? Aren't you tired of the hashtags? Aren't you tired of when is the action going to start? Sacrifice day. It is really, really hard on football night where everybody is watching football and I got a book or I'm on my computer or doing something else and people say, hey, you watched the game? No, I didn't. Okay, I don't follow. I couldn't even tell you who's on the team now or whatever because I don't follow because I was serious. That plantation was unbelievable. The lack of respect. We right now we go, oh well, I got Chinese friends and I got white friends and I got Muslim friends and I got Arabic friends. Why aren't your friends speaking up? Why aren't they speaking up? Why aren't they standing in the gap for you? Because let me tell you, I watch what that idiot in DC has been doing, and I know, and everybody listening to the sound of my voice know, they wanted to crucify Obama for wearing a tan suit. But this man has literally destroyed Washington, D.C. He has literally destroyed historic landmarks that can never be regained again into the condition, and it's okay. It's like we have adopted this white is right mentality that this idiot can do whatever he wants to do and nobody's forcing the case. Yes, I believe that pedophiles should be in jail. I believe that Diddy is where he's supposed to be. I believe that R. Kelly is where he's supposed to be. But don't be tagging me about blocking R. Kelly and Diddy and Cosby and everybody else, but you don't have that same energy for Trump ass to be sitting in the cell right next to them. Not only him, a lot of the other cronies and stuff that was involved because we know 100%. We knew he was a rapist and he was a pedophile when he was running for election. We knew that. And they allowed that. Okay. If I was a person that had a criminal record, I wish the hell I would apply for a job and somebody turned me down because of my criminal record. The class action lawsuit that you would have, that you're telling me that this idiot can hold the highest office in the land with 34 felony convictions, but I can't work in welcome to Walmart, welcome to McDonald's, can I take your order? You have got to be kidding me. Okay, we keep going for what we used to call back in the day the banana in the tailpipe. When do we stop going for the banana in the tailpipe?
Indeed, indeed,
Indeed,
indeed.
indeed, indeed.
So
So
let me add one more. Now I'm really gonna make some people
I'm really
mad.
gonna make
How
some
much we
people
had
mad.
up with
How much we
this?
had up with this.
Don't look at me like that. So,
Don't look at me like that. So,
Yeah.
all right. Let me say
all
two
right.
things tonight
Let me say
that
two
people
things
don't
tonight
like
that
to say
people don't like
in the
to
same
say
breath.
in the same breath.
Um, sorry, I'm trying to fix this echo.
Sorry, I'm trying to fix this echo.
Oh, okay, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. The first one is the war on drugs was designed to do exactly what it did to us. It's not a theory, nothing conspiracy theory about it. Nixon's own right hand man admitted years later that the whole point was to criminalize black people and break up our communities, get the black men out the home, to associate us with heroin and to lock us up for it. They wrote crack and powder cocaine, the same drugs, into law at 101 sentencing gap. So our neighborhoods will be filled with prisoners while they walked, take over our neighborhoods, and buy it on the cheap. They built the trap on purpose with our names on it. The second thing, in the same breath, and this is one that is going to really sting people, they built the trap, but we are the ones that still keep walking through it. The door's been hanging open for 40 years or so with this, even longer to be truthful. And as a community, we keep walking through it. So I'm not going to spend tonight only blaming the people who set it up, who said it. I'm going to ask why we won't stop stepping into it. We have to hold these, in this situation, we have to hold two truths at the same time. Or honestly, we're going to be lying to the public. Pretending that it's all the system that lets us off the hook and keep us helpless. Pretending that it's all our fault lets the architects of the hook off the hook as well. And keeps us ashamed. The truth is harder. They poisoned the well. And we keep going back to drinking from it. Knowing the history doesn't excuse us for the choice that's in front of us today. The second part of that is, we have to separate the choice from the sickness. Now I need everybody to hear me clearly, because there are two different sides to this. I know I keep saying two different sides, so forgive me, but selling it and glorifying it. Making a trap sound like a come up in every other song, movies, kids memorize it. We just had, I get it as these stories, but we just had Snowfall, BMF, we still got Power, we still got, all these other different shows. And it's a choice. We keep glorifying it. Every other show when that became popular is always about gangsters, thugs, nothing about the troubles of running a business in their communities and things like that. Like, for example, the Jeffersons, we saw, we saw all the trials and tribulations as a business owner that George Jefferson went through, and we got that. But every other club, movie, or TV show is about us with a club or a record label, and we got some type of corruption. More recently, still a club, we got all the Queensmen, we got this, that, whatever the show. But it's all around the same thing, corruption. We don't have anything about, black taxi before Uber, black taxi company, something. Anything that can help put us in a better light besides falling for the same trap. And now people are going into it thinking this is cool when they still don't have, this conscious dissonance that it's okay. And we all know it's not. And again, they poison the well. Knowing history doesn't excuse it from it either as well. And we have to do better about it. And the addiction itself is not a character flaw. It's a sickness. I know that because I just don't talk about it on Thursdays. I help manage other homes. Miss Walsh has been involved with it. Miss Ross Silk's been involved with it. At some point in time, this is a sickness that's affected every single family in this world at some point. I watch grown men and women fight for their lives every day, one at a time. And most of the time they fail. So when I say we're still walking through it, it's not about being ashamed of being about being an addict. I don't want people to be ashamed. But I'm indicting the community that steps over that person instead of building that thing that helps get them out of it in the first place. And it's going to be a generational cost. So, and Nika mentioned it. It doesn't just stop with us. It reaches the cribs. Babies are being born every day, fighting on dependency that they never chose to begin with. Silk, working in housing, could probably speak more to this than I have. But this is the inheritance that's being passed down to our children. Uh, it's an American wound, not just a black one. Of opioids, crack, heroin, whatever. Too many kids are being born with it, and the numbers are steadily rising back up. So, what do we want? If we want this to stop, I don't think the answer is going to be another hashtag. It's going to be infrastructure, recovery, housing, treatment. Again, I'm going to let Anika speak to that, and Miss Hardy Scott speak to that. Our housing programs, our outpatient programs in our neighborhoods. We start getting more and more, but we're running them crazy. We need to hold each other accountable in these programs. Meeting addictions, and just do better. Having meetings about it in our community and discussing it with our kids as well.
So something that you said that I want to go back on, because this is just my theory, right? So I've always wondered why women, especially Black women, are always under attack, right? And why literally, like, we're always under attack, or we're always perceived as aggressive or angry and rude. But think about this, right? The way the system was designed, they removed the men from the households, right? By design. And they expected us to fail. They expected us to fall apart like their women fall apart. And we didn't.
Mhm.
We rose to the occasion, and we showed that, yeah, we want our men, we love our men, we appreciate our men, but we could do this shit with or without you. Okay. And I really think that that pisses them off. I really, really honestly believe that that gets under their skin, that we did not fall apart. It's like funny because I shared with Mr. LP years ago. I worked for a company, and the owner's wife was going through menopause, and they literally had to check her into Tucker's for a few days because she could not function. She was like literally losing it. Now, I know that there are Black queens listening to the sound of my voice that has gone through menopause like me, that we couldn't afford to lose it. We had to either suffer in silence, but we had to keep it moving. We had to do what we needed to do for our kids, for our household, to protect our livelihood. So that's one thing. And I see you, what you said, Shalom, exactly. I think they envy our resilience. I think that they envy that we can chew bubble gum and walk at the same time. I think that they envy that we can wear multiple hats. Those that's old enough can remember there used to be a commercial, remember, that say I could bring home the bacon, fry it up in the pan, and never let you forget you a man. Okay, because I'm a woman. We are those chicks, okay? And so I think that that's the one thing that I wanted to hit on, that we disappointed them. Because even if you go back to slavery time, when they took our men, when they buck broke, when they took our, we still rose to the occasion. We still remembered that there was an inner strength, that there was an inner goddess, that there was an inner queen in us that had some work to be done. And tell the truth and shame the devil, it's been Black women that have been leading these movements. Okay. And so
Always.
I think that that's one of the points that I wanted to. The other thing too is, though, I want to go back to something you said about the TV shows, because yes, I can agree that there's a lot of foolishness that's on TV. But then I can also say that there's some shows on TV that I watch, but I watch with a different lens. I don't watch to be entertained. I watch through a third eye, that I could see the reality. Like, okay, for me, like, a lot of people don't like all the Queen's men, and I get it, but I see Eva for the queen, the boss bitch that she is. That's what I watch it for. Okay, because she is running her shit. She's running her business. She's a boss. Okay, plain and simple. You can't dispute that. And so I think it's the excuse me, whatever lens you're looking through is what you'll find.
Austin, bless you, man.
Apologies.
It's okay. So I'm gonna piggyback off of her. So I was gonna ask you, Stephen, how many people overdosed during slavery? I want you to think about that because slavery was the first thing to keep us caged, right? And when they could not keep us caged, they had to find other things to do so. They were tearing apart our family, but they could not tear apart the black woman, right? So then you start inundating them with things like poverty. And if you can't get poverty, then let's go ahead and add drugs. And if you've never seen a woman on drugs, women on drugs look totally different than a man on drugs. Like we are resilient. Even women that are on drugs that are of color, they are still resilient. There was this movie that I watched, I think in undergrad. It was called Uncle Tom's Cabin, and they were doing these scientific experiments on black people because they couldn't understand why they kept going. They cut off limbs, they took out their tongues, but they still were able to move around, which lets you know that we inherently come from something great, right? So they keep putting these things in place, these bridges in place, so they make sure that we don't cross them, right? That, what am I hearing? That is one of the issues, is that when we get up, they find something else to kick us back down. You put slavery, then you put poverty, then you give us our housing, and then you give us drugs, and then you give us divorce, and don't love the black man, and don't love the black woman. They are trying to systematically destroy us as we are trying to systematically come together, but we're not
Amen.
winning on that end because we are the people. This group that we are, there are only a few people who are not getting tired. They all through these years, at some point, our people are getting tired or they're dying. And they're saying, well, just what everybody else is doing. We have to
Um,
figure out how to build this system, right?
mhm.
But
I
we
got a
have
good.
to stop walking in theirs. Go ahead.
That's true. I'm sorry. I got a couple of good comments. First off, Shiloh, I didn't get a chance to say thank you for joining our show. You're always welcome. She's also one of our lovely co-hosts. But she's now a multimillionaire, so she's too busy counting her money at the bank. She must have just got the big bills, so she had to count the smaller bills today. So we are going. But she makes an excellent point. She says that how many female leaders are starting wars right now. and and then don't tell her that women are too emotional to lead, because literally, I mean, that's just the case. And another
And
young
another
lady in
young lady in
Canada
Canada
spoke.
spoke.
Um,
Um,
let me
Let me
see.
see.
Hold on one
Hold on one.
second here. I think it's coming on your end, Silk. Sorry. I'll take it off in a second. Um, but she said that a hashtag was never going to be a long term solution. The black community in us has been hurt so badly and for so long that the best way to heal and regain our identity as a community is to segregate ourselves from non BIPOC communities and heal together and research our histories and traditions and teach each other. Thousands overdose during slavery because that's how they developed these drugs and tested it out on us. That is true. There's plenty of books about beside the opioids and other things that was given to them to say, okay, hey, take this while we kill you, or experimented just to see what happens. I experimented on boats. We had black people here before that, and experiments that were performed on them then as well. So these situations are really bad, really bad. Um, let's
But can I ask you
see.
a question? How strong do people we have to be that they are trying their damnedest to kill us, right? You like we sometimes we got to stop and look like, are we that important that y'all are putting all your energy in trying to just kill us, but then you want everything from us. You want our culture, you want our swag, you want our movement, but you want to kill us. That's craziness. That is crazy work right there. The very
The
thing they
very
hate
thing
is
they
the
hate
very
is
thing
the very
is
thing
the thing they
is
want
the
to
thing
love.
they want to love.
Girl, call that thing what it is. It's demonic. Okay, that's what it is. It's demonic. Okay, it's embedded in the DNA. Every stitch that Betsy Ross made in this flag. It's demonic. And the bottom line is we look and we think, let's just talk about, and we talked about this, Anika, when the election came, you passed on an educated Black woman, okay, to put an idiot in office. And that was okay with the United States. We have become the laughing stock of the entire world. But you guys are okay with that because his tan line and his orange hair is all that matters. Like that just kills me. And what infuriates me is the Black people that would suggest that she would not have been a good president because she did her job and she locked up criminals. I'm just like
She,
blown away by the things that we get sidetracked,
and
that
she
we
didn't
get
do that.
sidetracked with. It's like she wasn't walking down the street snatching Black men off the street and putting them in jail. Okay.
No,
So I'm just like, we would rather we bypass on educated people all the time. We allowed an idiot to take national TV and call one of the greatest first ladies of all time a man and a monkey. And we're not outraged about that enough. It just blows my mind. And I'm not even talking about the women. Black men, stand up. Where the hell are you? Okay. We Black men should be going off right now. And I'm talking to every athlete, every entertainer. How dare you? How dare you get so comfortable in your skin that you think you can be this disrespectful? And so this is why they do the things that they do. This is exactly why they do the things that they do. Because we're not going to because as long as the master is keeping you happy and on a plantation, let me tell you something. I'm confident enough to say that what happened to Diddy, what happened to Michael Jackson, what happened to R. Kelly, what happened to Bill Cosby, that ain't nothing but a nigga stay in your place. Because if they had not got out of place someplace and pissed off the wrong people, they still would be doing what they be doing and everybody would still be looking the other way. It's when you start pissing off the master, we already know what happens on the plantation, where you either get sold off, auctioned off, or lynched.
or you become that Stephen guy and Django.
Exactly.
Right, but
Shiloh,
even in that,
no, I'm sorry. I was trying to read the comments. Shiloh said a lot of men supported the patriarchy, and they belong where they are. Yeah. Go ahead,
yeah,
Miss Walston. Excuse me.
I think I actually forgot it because I just enjoyed that. Yeah, this patriarchy thing, right? It's crazy to me that we always talk about this patriarchy, and I'm going to not get on this course tonight. We can't have a patriarchy of anything if you don't have a matriarch. You all can't get here if you don't come through the golden place. Okay. So I'm going to die on this hill and tell you that I know that it ain't the men technically running this country, right? I'm going, they making decisions, but at the end of the day, some woman's going to have to pull their ass up out of the mess that they've created, and it won't be white. And yes, I said it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Amen. Another comment came in, said that it's not about testing our strength, it's about keeping us separated and from seeing the truth. And the truth is that only 13% of the world's population is white, which means approximately only 7% are white men. So what happens if BIPOC people get together and stop allowing ourselves to be brainwashed? If they would lose their power. That's the thing. They're so scared. We talk about this all the time. They're so scared that we're going to come back on this revenge tour, and we don't got that type of time in our lives. Just leave us to just stop hating.
Why
us.
don't we? Why don't we have time? I see. I don't even agree with that. Okay.
No,
Why
I'm
don't
talking
they
about
have
focusing
time?
on us. No,
Okay.
I'm talking. No. When I say that, I'm talking about, okay, if I got power and I got money, I'm focusing, and I can't speak for everybody, but what our focus should be, what can I do to maintain that power, that money, that legacy, that health and wellness for our communities and what's coming up behind me. That's where my focus is. My focus is, I'm not going to sit there, okay, now I got power, I got money. I'm going to find the nearest white person and harass them and try to put them in jail and abuse them and things like that, and do all the other, and, patrol them and look them up and follow them around the stores that they did to us. I ain't got time for that. If you're about your business, you recognize the foolishness, You leave that alone and you build what you're supposed to be building and focusing on what you need to do. That's what I'm saying about that time. I ain't focusing about revenge. I let the good man upstairs handle that revenge part.
Okay.
That's what I refer to. So I apologize. I did not make myself clear on that.
Right. I get it. I They would not be able to follow us around stores if we would keep our behinds out of their stores, right? I don't know about anybody else's family. Like my grandmother sold all of her clothes, right? But I'm seamstress in my family. I don't have a name brand nothing in my closet, nor do I want it. And I'm cute every day I leave out the house. So what we need to understand is that we are not built off of brands. We should become the brand. That's all.
Amen. 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 Well, everybody, I appreciate your time. We're about that time on the world that we need to cut this out and things like that, so we can pay some bills, so we can get back next week, and things, because it's important to have these conversations. It's important that we put action. See, one of the things that we try to do with this is that we don't want to. Yes, you're right, Shot Love. We are the brand. One of the things I try to do is leave you, not just say all these comments and things. We want you to come home with something. Take something home with you, as they say. And we're doing it for free. Now if you want to pay us some money, I'll be happy to. Just give me a little bit extra, because Tracy takes all my money. But still, we have to do better, and things for what we need to do, and everything else. And my ending statement here, I'm sorry. Let me not be rude. Please forgive me. Before I give an ending statement, let me give Miss Walston. Do you have any final thoughts, ma'am?
I just want to thank you. I did miss you. I miss Miss Tracy too. Thank you for letting me being a part of this conversation. I think this was an awesome conversation. I would love for us to do more, right? I also want us to just not have this expectation that we are and we're still sitting, right? We need to move. That's all I'm saying.
You, you know what? I really want. I'm going to say this out loud. We were looking to try to do this at some point in time, and I think they just went in my head and stole the ideas. I really wish this is a conversation that I wish we had live in front of a few hundred people in the auditorium, to really take home. I see tonight's conversation, about relationships, and they go in these auditoriums and all these other things that people walk up and ask these questions and things. I've long said years ago that this show, and it's not about me trying to hype up something. I've said for a long time, this show needs to be on tour at some point in time. We get up there, sit on the couch, and have these on stage and have these conversations, so people can be aware. Because not everybody's going to see it this at the same time, but at some point in time, if not this year, towards the end of this year, but next year, we're going to have to find a way to get this on tour and make it happen. So we'll develop it as it goes and things. But thank you for that, Miss Walson, and I appreciate you so very much. I miss you very much. And tell your dad, I hope he's watching. Miss Walsilk, your thoughts, ma'am?
Same thing. I miss Queen and Nika. I always love having these conversations. I appreciate the people who tune in and give their input, their thoughts, because this is how it starts. So I'm just looking forward to our next conversation. And as always, I'm a phone call away, Mr. LP.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so very much. The thing I want to say in all of this is that, and I'm going to keep my closing comments short. I'm not looking, like I said, intra-community critique is always can be difficult at times, but it's really out of love. I'm not being critical to make anybody else feel comfortable. I'm being critical so we can stand up straight and respect ourselves. That's literally it. I want to be able to look down our back. None of us has it all together. We've all fallen short. We've all made mistakes in trying to get to the space where we are. But I prayed all the time that we are healed enough to recognize these mistakes and to do better and try not to make those same mistakes again, and work on the things that we can change, as the saying goes. The groundwork, has already been laid. Like I said, it takes a lot of soldiers, and so many people are worrying about the attention, the money. Silk said it best for years. You know, when we call for, what was it? Call for war. There's always going to be a sacrifice, and that's what's happening here. We're too worried about what others say, how we feel, and sometimes our jobs. And I get it. We have families to feed and things, all these stuff. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that our future is secure. The blueprint already exists. The only question left is the one I started with in the beginning. Do we know what we want, and are we finally willing to go get it? Go get that money. Go get that business. Go get that corporations. Go get that community. Are we about ready to go get it? Because we can't change their hearts, but we could damn sure change their wallets. And if we're ever going to decide to move as one, now is the time. It's now or never. God bless you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, always please feel free to reach out to us at enlivengm.com. Also, you can reach us out. I'm sorry, I should have put it back up here. You can always email us at enlivengm@gmail.com. Please feel free to leave comments after the show, wherever you may be watching this. I'm going to put it out there for replay. Thank you, Internet World, for not trying to shut us down today. Last week was fun, but I appreciate you. Take care. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.